Hello everyone. Today we are not talking about a side character who only follows behind son Wukong, nor the cold-hearted uncle who tears families apart in the story of the Lotus Lantern. Today we are talking about something else, the strongest war god in heaven, a solitary figure who from the moment he was born carried the dual curse of being both divine and human. His name is Jian, better known as Erlang Shen. In the universe of Chinese mythology, if Sun Wukong represents fire, freedom that burns through all rules, then Erlang Shen is the blade, cold, sharp, and unwavering, a blade that protects order. Today I will gather every scattered fragment from Fengshen Yanyi, Journey to the West, folk legends, and the Lotus Lantern story, and piece them together to take you through the complete life of Erlang Shen. Are you ready? Let's start from the beginning. Chapter 1, The Forbidden Love Between God and Mortal. This story does not begin with war, nor does it begin in heaven. It begins with a love that neither heaven nor earth could accept. In the celestial realm, there was a goddess named Ji. She was the sister of the Jade Emperor, a deity who governed mountains and rivers. She lived high above in the ninth heaven, surrounded by golden palaces and endless divine music. The laws of heaven were like an invisible net, wrapping tightly around her. Until one day, she parted the clouds and looked down at the human world. And there she saw a man, a scholar named Yang Tianyu. He had no extraordinary power, no legendary abilities. He simply lived in a broken, thatched house, lighting a small oil lamp, reading quietly and earnestly. He was poor, but in his eyes there was a fire, a stubborn will to keep living, even if the sky itself were to collapse. Ji fell in love, and she made a decision that would enrage the entire heavenly court. She descended from heaven and married that mortal man. For a brief, very brief moment, they lived a life of true happiness. They had 3 children. Their eldest son was named Jian. The character Jian carries meanings like to cut down or to eliminate, but also blessing and fortune. Perhaps Ji hoped that this child would cut away the suffering of the world and bring fortune to their family. But fortune never came. What came were the heavenly soldiers. Heaven had found out. The first law of heaven, gods must never marry mortals. It was absolute. The Jade Emperor was furious. He sent down celestial troops to capture Ji. That day, thunder roared over the Yang family courtyard. Yang Tianyu was only a scholar. He had no strength to fight, yet he stood in front of his wife, facing the radiant divine warriors. He had no weapon, only an axe used for chopping firewood. How could that axe possibly stop divine lightning? Yang Tianyu was killed. Ji was taken back to heaven and sealed beneath Mount Tao, never to be freed. In that moment, a small child stood in the ruins, covered in dust, covered in tears. He watched his mother being dragged away. He watched his father collapse in blood. He was only a few years old, but he remembered one thing. This world does not run on fairness. It runs on power. If you want to take back what belongs to you, you must first become strong. Chapter 2, The Awakening of a Warrior. The young Yang Jian, carrying hatred and grief, began to wander. The divine blood within him was awakening, but the pain of the human world continued to tear at him. He needed a guide. That guide was Yuding Zhenren. Yuding Zhenren was a disciple of Yuanxi Tianzun, one of the 12 golden immortals of the Chan school. His power was immeasurable, but he had one defining trait. He was extremely selective with his students. Yang Jian found his cave at Mount Yuquan. At that time, he was still a ragged child. He knelt outside the cave for 3 days and 3 nights without moving. Yuding Zhenren watched him, and in that child's tears, he saw a flame. He said only one sentence, "This child will become great." And so Yang Jian became his disciple. What did he learn? The 72 transformations, Not the imitation later stolen by Sun Wukong, but the true and complete 8-9 mystical art. He could become a bird, a fish, a mountain, a tree. He could shrink beyond sight or grow to stand between heaven and earth. He learned law of heaven and earth, a divine ability that allowed his body to expand into a towering giant, his head touching the sky, his feet pressing the ground like a living mountain. And then, his third eye, the eye between his brows. It was not decoration. It was a divine eye, capable of seeing through all illusions, revealing all demons, exposing all deception. No transformation, no trick could escape it. He also gained 2 companions. The first, the Celestial Hound, a white divine dog, not an ordinary creature. It understood human speech, possessed spiritual awareness, and once it bit an enemy, it would never let go. From that moment on, wherever Jian went, the hound followed, always. The second, his weapon. He did not choose a sword, he did not choose a spear, he chose the 3-pointed double-edged blade, long, flexible, deadly, perfect for a warrior of infinite transformation. A young Jian stood at the peak of a mountain, blade in hand, hound at his side, the third eye slowly opening. At that moment, the child who once cried in the ruins was gone. Standing there was the future Erlang Shen. Chapter 3, The War of the Gods, Rising to Fame. Jian first stepped onto the stage of history during the Great War of the Gods. It was an era where stars fell and blood flowed like rivers. At the end of the Shang dynasty, King Zhou ruled with cruelty, and the world descended into chaos. King Wu of Zhou rose in rebellion, and soon both the Chan school and the Ji school immortals were drawn into this massive war. As a disciple of the Chan school, Jian followed his master's senior, Jiang Zia, and joined the Zhou army. In this war, his performance could only be described in one way: absolutely astonishing. It wasn't just that he was powerful. More importantly, he was intelligent. He rarely relied on brute force. He preferred strategy. Once, he faced an immortal of the Ji school who could release poisonous mist. The battlefield was covered in toxic clouds, and soldiers began collapsing one after another. Panic spread everywhere, but Jian remained calm. He transformed into a tiny insect, flew silently behind the enemy, and with a single strike, ended the fight. Another time, he was trapped inside a formation, an illusion array filled with demons and monsters. Anyone who entered would lose their mind. Jian closed his eyes and relied only on his heavenly eye to sense the truth. He walked straight through the illusion, cutting down everything in his path, as if no one could stop him. Throughout the war, he slew demons, fought immortals, broke formations, and captured enemies. There was almost nothing he could not do. He became the sharpest weapon in Jiang Zia's hand. When the war ended, the Zhou dynasty was established. Jiang Zia stood upon the investiture platform, holding the divine whip, and appointed 365 gods. Jian was granted the title, the true Lord of clear origin and subtle Tao. This was the origin of the name Erlang Shen. From that moment on, he was no longer human, no longer just a cultivator. He had become a god. Chapter 4, Guanjiangku. A god who refused heaven after becoming a god. Jian made a choice. He did not stay in heaven. To him, the golden palaces of the celestial court were nothing more than a larger prison. He had known since childhood how cold and merciless the laws of heaven truly were. His mother had been crushed beneath them. His father had died because of them. He refused to become one of those distant gods who bowed before the Jade Emperor every day, reciting empty, emotionless rituals. He chose instead to return to the human world. He settled in Guanjiangku. There he built his own temple. He gathered his forces, the 6 brothers of Fengshen, the Celestial Hound, and 1,200 divine soldiers. He made this place his domain. The Jade Emperor issued a decree, summoning him to serve in heaven. Yang Jian replied with only one sentence: "I answer calls, I do not answer summons." What did that mean? It meant, if there are demons to slay, if there are monsters to eliminate, call me and I will go. But if you expect me to stand in court every day, bowing in submission, then no. That was Erlang Shen's pride. He was a war god, not a servant. In Guanjiangku, he lived a life between God and man. He controlled floods, he destroyed demons, he protected the people. The people were grateful. They built temples for him, burned incense, offered prayers. In every statue, he stood the same way, holding his three-pointed blade, gazing into the distance with the celestial hound by his side. Majestic, powerful, and yet deeply alone. He had no true friends. The 6 brothers of Fengshen were his allies, but also his subordinates. He rarely smiled. He rarely spoke. He would stand upon the high ground of Guanjiangku, watching the river flow endlessly into the distance. What did he think about? No one knew. Chapter 5: Havoc in Heaven, a fated rivalry. That quiet life was shattered by a monkey. Sun Wukong. Born from stone, this monkey challenged everything. He stormed the Dragon Palace. He invaded the underworld. And finally, he attacked heaven itself. He stole peaches of immortality. He consumed divine elixirs. 100,000 heavenly soldiers could not stop him. The mighty god Erlang had yet to appear. The giant god was defeated. Naza was beaten back. The 4 heavenly kings were humiliated. Heaven lost all dignity. The Jade Emperor sat upon his throne, his face dark with anger. At that moment, Guanyin spoke. "Your Majesty, you may summon Erlang Shen." The Emperor nodded. Of course, how could he have forgotten? The decree was sent to Guanjiangku. Yang Jian read it, said nothing. He picked up his blade, mounted his horse, and with the celestial hound at his side, rode toward Flower Fruit Mountain. This became one of the greatest battles in all of Chinese mythology. Sun Wukong stood atop the mountain, slammed his staff into the ground and shouted, "Who are you, little god? State your name." Yang Jian looked at him coldly. "I am Erlang Shen. I have come to capture you." Wukong laughed. "Capture me? Try it." The battle began, from land to sky to sea. Wukong transformed into a sparrow. Yang Jian became a hawk. Wukong turned into a fish. Yang Jian became a fishing bird. Wukong turned into a temple, hiding his tail as a flagpole behind it. Yang Jian saw through it instantly and raised his blade to strike. 72 transformations against 72 transformations. Neither could overpower the other, but Yang Jian had something Wukong did not, the heavenly eye. No matter how perfect Wukong's disguise was, it was transparent before Yang Jian. The battle escalated. Yang Jian unleashed law of heaven and earth, growing into a towering giant, his strikes splitting mountains apart. Wukong responded in kind, transforming into a colossal ape. The sky darkened, the world trembled. In the end, the celestial hound lunged forward, biting into Wukong's leg. For a brief moment, Wukong lost focus, and that was enough. From the sky, the Supreme Elder cast down a golden ring, striking Wukong on the head. He staggered. Yang Jian moved instantly. He locked Wukong in place. The Monkey King was captured. That battle cemented Erlang Shen's title as the strongest war god of heaven. But Yang Jian did not celebrate. As he looked at Wukong, trapped beneath the mountain, he thought of another mountain, Mount Tao, where his mother was sealed. He realized something. The way he captured this monkey was no different from how heaven had taken his mother. Is order really worth this much? He said nothing. He simply sheathed his blade and walked away. Chapter 6: The Lotus Lantern. the cruelest choice. A long time passed. Young Jian had a younger sister. Her name was San Shengmu. Unlike her brother, she was not cold. She was gentle, kind. She loved everything about the human world. She possessed a sacred treasure, the Lotus Lantern, a divine artifact bestowed by Nuwa, radiating a soft light that could illuminate even the darkest places. But she made a mistake. She fell in love with a mortal, a scholar named Liu Yanchang. Just like how their mother, Yao Shi, had once fallen in love with their father. Yang Jian found out, and he understood exactly what it meant. The laws of heaven still existed. The iron rule of the celestial court had not changed in 1,000 years, and it would not change in another 1,000. If heaven discovered this, San Shengmu's fate would be the same as their mother's, sealed beneath a mountain, never to rise again. Perhaps even worse, Yang Jian was faced with a choice. He could pretend not to know. Let them live a few years of happiness as a family, and then wait for heaven to discover the truth. Celestial soldiers would descend. Liu Yanchang would be killed. San Shengmu would be sealed, and his nephew Chen Xiang would become an orphan, just like he once was. Or he could act first. He could personally seal his sister beneath a mountain. By doing so, he could show heaven his obedience and preserve her life. At the same time, he could secretly protect Chen Xiang. Let him grow, let him train, let him one day gain enough strength to split the mountain open. It was a choice so cruel, it suffocated the soul. Yang Jin chose the second path. He personally sealed San Shengmu beneath Mount Hua. Everyone cursed him. They called him a cold-blooded uncle, a loyal dog of heaven. Chen Xiang hated him. The people despised him. Even the 6 brothers of Meishan could not understand him. He gave no explanation, not a single word. Every night he stood at the peak of Mount Hua, looking at the mountain that imprisoned his sister. Silent. Years passed. Chen Xiang grew up. He became powerful. He obtained the divine axe. And one day, he came to Mount Hua. Yang Jian appeared. He stood in front of him, and they fought. On the surface, Yang Jian was stopping him. But in truth, he was leaving openings, letting Chen Xiang see through his defenses, guiding him silently. In the end, Chen Xiang split the mountain open. San Shengmu was freed. Yang Jian stood in the distance, watching his sister reunited with her family. His lips moved slightly. For the first time in hundreds of years, he almost smiled. Chapter 7. Folk Belief, the Eternal Guardian. After the story of the Lotus Lantern, people began to see Yang Jian differently. They began to understand him. He was not cold. He was helpless. He was not without emotion. He had simply hidden all of it behind the edge of his blade. Across many regions of China, people worship Erlang Shen. In Sichuan, in Fujian, in Taiwan, temples were built in his name. To some, he was a water god because he once controlled floods at Guanzhongkou. To others, he was a demon slayer because even monsters feared him. His title was the true Lord of clear origin and subtle Tao. Clear origin, like pure flowing water. Subtle Tao, like a hidden profound truth. People believed as long as Erlang Shen stood watch, floods would not come, demons would not rise, and peace would remain. So if you ask me, what kind of person is Erlang Shen? I will tell you, he is a child who grew up in ruins, a man who spent his entire life fighting against the very rules that destroyed his family. And in the end, he became the one who protects those rules, not because he surrendered, but because he understood something. If no one protects those rules, more children will become orphans, more mothers will be buried beneath mountains. So he chose to carry that burden. That is Erlang Shen, lonely, powerful, silent. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, save, and share. And if you want to explore more deep dives into Chinese mythology, leave a comment below. I'll see you in the next one.